something I've been meditating a lot on recently is, who am I really? Because, I mean, like, I still see myself as, like, this dark, negative built person, right? Because that's what my entire upbringing was. I was I'm a product of child abuse. I had a really, really rough childhood growing up. And even into my earlier adulthood, I was still a very negative person. It's, who suffered intense loss and intense pain and anguish. And it took growth, it took therapy, it took work to grow beyond those things. But I still see myself in that lens. But when I talk to my partner, she doesn't see that lens at all. Because in all of her experience with me, I've not been that person. I've been this person who's happy, who is open to the world, who is, I've got some insecurities, I've got some, I'm certainly not a perfectly rounded out person, but the way she sees it is that I still am like a good person, and like a happy person, and a positive person. Like, she's never seen me at my lowest and my darkest. And that's the thing too, is that I've had major setbacks, I've had major issues with her, and even at those hyper dark moments, she's still looking at me like, no, you're still a solid dude, you're still a good person, you still are, like, because I see myself as like consumed in fucking darkness, and she sees me as the exact opposite. So who am I? And how much of that is dependent on, like, the circumstances I'm in? There's a line in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's a conversation that's happening between Quark and his nephew Nog. Their basic context, they're in the middle of like a war zone, and Quark and Nog, they're Ferengi, they're an alien race, and they're around a bunch of humans, but a bunch of Federation citizens, and these guys are like grizzled. The humans there are like, if you imagine like Nom fucking soldiers, right? Like, they're fucking grizzled, they're hardened, they're taking war trophies from their fucking fallen from their fallen enemies, like that type of shit, right? And these guys, they're going through it, and they're very, very negative. And so the issue is that Nog, being a recent Starfleet graduate, is looking at this humans like, no, these guys are awesome, these guys are great, like, these guys, this is the pinnacle of what a Starfleet warrior and a Starfleet officer is. And Quark is like, no, you don't understand, these guys are feral, like, these guys are at the end of like their entire peacefulness, because Starfleet at its core is a peaceful thing. And so he's telling me, he's like, no, he's like, yes, humans are fun, humans are happy, humans are, they're good people. And he's like, but if you, take them away from their creature comforts, their sonic showers, their holodecks, their synthetic alcohol and all this stuff, put them in wartime scenario, put them in this war situation imaginable, and they'll become as savage as the fiercest Klingon you've ever met, like the fiercest warrior ever. And it's one of those things where it's like, there definitely is, like, that exists in human nature. You take any human and strip away all of their luxuries and put them under a mass amount of like life-threatening stress, And you're gonna get a different person at the end of it. But the question I always have to myself is, which one am I? Like, at my heart of hearts, at my core, at the deepest part of me that I even have trouble understanding, am I this fucking negative pit of destruction and despair who was born and raised and grew through spite and malice and exists, as a middle finger to my own to my own mom, who would rather have seen me dead? Or, am I that negative person who has learned to be a loving, peaceful, happy person? Or am I, at my core, still that child, that happy, hopeful, loving person who's just experienced a lot of badness and had to learn how to reach that inner happiness again? And I don't know. And it's one of those things too where it's like, I don't know who to ask, because I don't know if anyone's ever going to give me a straight answer. Ever. Like, my partner's always going to tell me, no, you're the positive person. The negative stuff, it's just, it's circumstances, or it's a front, it's whatever. It's a defense mechanism that pushes people away so that you don't feel the disappointment as much, because it feels like your own choice. And people who don't like me are going to be like, no, you're actually a piece of shit, and this happiness that you're feeling is superficial and can be stripped away from you. And I'm sure like a therapist would be in the middle of like, well, no, you're both and you're neither, and it's all about what choices you've made and how you and how you deal with those things. And I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't know if it matters. I would like to think it does. I would like to think that it matters a lot. Because if I know who I truly am, I know how better to allocate my emotional resources. If I truly am a positive person, then I can, allocate more towards maintaining that positivity and, breaking the chains of that negativity that hovers over me. If I truly am a negative person, it's learn to better navigate that and how to better, cope with the fact that I am this creature of darkness, but I'm also still deserving of love and light, and that I need to make sure that I can keep myself happy, keep myself accepting of that love and that light, and not just box up that negative part of me until it explodes and destroys everything around me. And I don't know if it matters. Because the hand that says it doesn't matter is the hand that says the mission is the same either way. Because ultimately, what is the mission? The mission is continue to strive for happiness, continue to, speak to that inner child, that, that innocent part of me that never got to exist when I was a kid. And to make sure that I have a healthy outlet for the darker parts of me. Because, if it's always going to be there, the worst thing I could do is box it up. So, as long as I have ways to cope with it and validate without self-destructing, and to, recover from it without just burying it. It doesn't matter. At its functional level, it does not matter, because at its functional level, I need to still be doing the same things, working towards the same goal. But the very data-driven part of me still wants to know. I feel like I'm touching on those, like, big life questions. Like, this is like the fucking philosopher shit. Like, who are we truly? And, like, that's the other thing, too, is that the reason why I think about it, too, is, like, because I think about, like, what would happen if I lost these positive things in my life? If I lost my partner, if I lost, like, this happiness and this growth that's coming to me, what do I revert back to? When the chips are down, when we found rock bottom, who am I? And is that person different than who I was at rock bottom 10, 20, 30 years ago? Like, is that a moving target? Is my absolute core self, is that something that changes over time? I don't know. I feel like I'm talking in circles. I feel like I don't make sense, even as I'm saying it out loud. And it's possible I don't. I mean, no one watches these anyway, so this is more for me to kind of just word vomit out all the stupid shit that's going through my brain, and to kind of see, like, how I feel later down the line when I go back through and watch these and be like, okay, how was I doing? How was I feeling? What was I thinking about? Because I don't know. Well, and here's the does knowing who I truly am change anything? Does that change who I am? Because if I know that, when the chips are down, I revert back to the fucking, to a fucking black hole, do I then try to change that and make it better? I don't know. I mean, I could just be overthinking the entire thing, and I just need to shut up and just enjoy what I have, which is certainly possible, but I've never been the type of person who could just shut up and just accept. I have to quantify everything. I have to understand everything. I have to touch it and hold it and feel it and measure it and understand it at its deepest core, and that includes myself. And so I can't just be happy for the sake of being happy. My happiness needs to be quantified. My happiness needs to be understood, which may be the end of my happiness, because I'm always down for a good spiral. I don't know. This feels like I'm fucking all over the place, and I probably am. But we'll keep doing what we do. Keep asking questions. Keep seeing how the answers play out. And every day we just try to be a little better than we were yesterday. See how it goes.